Mercury retrograde, absolutely for real, in so many different ways. Hi, this is Lyrata Barrett for the Institute for Global Transformation on this July 20th, 2025. And through a glitch in the matrix, I have recorded 2 sessions this month. One is part 2 of lesson 1, which is already on video. So I ask that those of you who are following, who've done lesson 1 with me, or part 1, lesson 1, start on part 2, lesson 1, anytime at your leisure after this session. You might want to do it before this session if you're watching on video. But today I'm going to start on lesson 2 of part 2 of Soul and its Instrument, The Soul and its Instrument, which is a fascinating book and study. So let's just take a moment and connect energetically in this Mercury retrograde, which started 2 days ago on the 18th. But we have actually been in the shadow of this Mercury retrograde, and many of us have already been feeling it for about the last 7-8 days, okay, prior to the 18th. So, and it stays with us. We will be in this Mercury retrograde through to August 11th. And if we're taking it to the nth degree, we will also know that we'll be feeling the shadow as we did 7 days before, also 7 days after. So any new business that we want to start in about a week after August 11th. And for those of you who don't know, and tell you the truth, I need to check myself. Mercury is retrograde in Cancer. Yeah, Mercury is retrograde in Cancer. So that causes us to become rather reflective of our home, nurturing, nourishing, relationships, family, among other things. Yeah. So, again, let's take a moment, take a deep breath in, relaxing the physical and etheric body. Send the message to relax to our nervous system, knowing that it will obey. Take another deep breath in. Focusing on the emotional body and seeking to calm the emotional body. No grasping, no hooking into anything, no needing anything, no desiring anything. Just being present in this moment, feeling placid and relaxed. And then completely detach from the emotional body. And take another deep breath, moving into the mental body. Becoming aware of your mind, the apparatus of the mind, where thoughts come and go, where thinking takes place, where you can observe all of these, the thoughts, the thinking process, and yet know that you are not your thoughts. You are the thinker. And we come together in this moment of silence and strong beauty in unison as one. To understand the soul and its vehicle, the physical body. We call in the deva of these lessons for deeper understanding and future embodiment of this material, this wisdom. We remain open, even if understanding may not be possible. We stay open, knowing that going forward, all will move into place in its time. And so it is. We looked at lesson 1, where we began to understand the domain of the soul as that no longer focused on the separate self, but or the individual self, but focused on we and the group, whatever group, world group, national group, the group, the group of world servers, humanity, all the planetary kingdoms. It's a we. And our focus from the aspect of the soul is always looking at the collective, never the separated self. And its focus is service. And we also became aware in lesson one, part two, that of a new definition of personality. That being that what we're actually talking about never really is the personality. It's a misnomer to say my personality. We're actually dealing with the persona. The personality is that container of aggregate experiences that the soul goes through from lifetime to lifetime, and the experiences that it gathers in each particular lifetime that is deposited into the next incarnation, in this case, this one. So the personality is a reflection of the all past experience into which the soul has entered while incarnate in form. So it's all of the experiences creates the personality. Okay? In other words, the aggregate of individual experience is reflected into a more or less integrated form. That form constituting the personality. Brand new definition of what personality is. It's a conditional state into which its conditional state of existence into which the soul projects a part of its consciousness for the purpose of further experience. It is not a state of consciousness. The soul is consciousness. Okay? The soul is consciousness. The personality is not consciousness. Therefore, the term personality consciousness is, in a state, a misnomer. In a sense, a misnomer. What is actually meant is that the projected consciousness has identified itself with the personality. The soul has identified itself with the personality rather than the soul itself, rather than what it is, which is what we all do when we come into this world. We forget who we are and we identify with the form and all that the form brings. So, the process of waking up, the process of evolving, growing, is a series of detachments from all that we think is real until we get to truth of who we really are. And we are the soul. We are the soul. The soul is that consciousness connected to a particular vehicle that is above and free of the form. And truth be told, there is only one soul. One soul. We are all have that. We are all given that divine spark. Placed in many different vessels, many different vehicles. That's what you call a population, a congregation, a nation, a world population. And because it's placed in all of these different vessels, vehicles, instruments, each one, because of the experiences it's had, threaded from incarnation to incarnation, thinks differently, manifests differently, believes differently, has different talents and gifts and weaknesses, and we bump up against all of those different energies and experience it, react to it, are magnetically attracted to some, repelled by others. Okay, we'll be talking about that in this lesson. Okay, so lesson 2. Here we are talking about, in this lesson, the constitution of the human entity. And I should put this lesson just up on the page. Hold on. The constitution of the human entity, the monad, the soul or consciousness aspect, the personality, the threefold movement of manifestation, further clarification of the monad, soul, and personality. So this is going to be a lesson where it is mostly focused on defining terms. Maybe the first few lessons really are going to be a definition of terms so that we all understand a basic vocabulary, basic understanding of what it is we're talking about, and then we move on from there. Okay? Soul and its instrument, lesson 2. In this lesson, we shall begin our study of the constitution of that entity called humanity. This will provide the basis from which to proceed to eventual understanding of the threefold human entity and its utilization in the working out of the divine plan. So we're going to be getting an understanding of the constitution of humanity, and we'll be examining this in order to understand the threefold human entity. The threefold human entity, whenever we talk about the threefold human entity or the our threefold body, we're always talking about the physical etheric, the astral, and the mental bodies, and how all of this is utilized in the working out of the divine plan. May not forget to say that. We shall break down the human atom as it is called into 3 major aspects. Since you have at present no method of proving or disproving that which I shall communicate, I ask you to proceed with an open mind, accepting for the present the following information as a hypothesis with which to experiment. We never ask in these lessons, in any of these lessons, and no one ever should, when you're studying something new, ask that you believe it once and done. No. Hear it, try to understand it, then test it out for yourself. It only really will mean something to you once you've tested it out for yourself and you can say, aha, now I see, now I understand. As your experiments develop, you will be able to prove the truth in experience. Remember that reality only becomes factual as it is worked out on the physical plane in concrete form. As regards your experimentation, which is really your constant application or attempts to apply what is being studied, proceed with care, experimenting along these lines indicated in these lessons. And only after you have sufficient information to warrant experimentation. Remember that knowledge without understanding can be dangerous. I rely upon your good judgment, ability to follow instructions, and your right motive. Remember, right motive came up in lesson 1, and it is stated in lesson 1, question your motives for wanting to understand these lessons. If it's to satisfy a need for you on a personal level, then these lessons are not for you. But having said that, know that we all, every last one of us, are evolving, and every last one of us have moved from the aspect of thinking about the separated self, needing to know for the separated self, wanting to do something for the separated self, for the benefit of the separated self. And then we begin to realize, aha, no. We move beyond that ring pass knot into a wider field where we're beginning to look around and say, ah, I see others. Let me connect with others. Let me know others. Let me appreciate others because we are one. It's not just about me. It's about we. Then we're progressing. Okay? So the 3 major aspects of the human atom are, number 1, the monad. The monad is another name for that divine spark that's within us. It's above the soul. The soul is the vehicle of the monad, as the personality is the vehicle of the soul. Okay? This is the positive central life. Note those words, central life, positive, meaning it's causal. It is not negative or receptive. It's positive, like of a battery, the part of the battery that's positive. It sends the charge. Okay? It's positive central life that is characterized by the will to be. That's the aspect of the divine spark. That's that aspect that's causal. That's the energy of the divine Father in us. Okay? Its motion is forward progression. Its force is propulsion. Its quality is defined as being electrical. You may or may not have heard of monadic consciousness. We shall attempt to clarify the term, but any attempt to bring understanding of this state to your present state of consciousness is almost futile. It is the consciousness, monadic consciousness, is the consciousness of the one, the source, the divine Father, rather than the many, which is humanity. having nothing whatsoever to do with form as you know form. Monadic communication, as such, does not exist. That which is termed monadic communication is the interpretation the soul gives to monadic impulse. So the soul, when it senses monadic impulse, assumes that it's getting a monadic communication. And even the word impulse carries different connotations than does the term as used by present-day science. The plane that is known as divine mind is the home of the monad. The plane of divine mind is the home of the monad. It's also known as the atmic level, Atma. This plane, and this plane too, is most difficult of definition. It lies above the divine plan. Divine mind lies above divine plan, and yet it is the perfect plan. It lies above thought, and yet it is the perfect thought. It lies above form, and yet it is the perfect form. From this formless one proceed the many. From this unconscious state proceeds the states of consciousness. I realize that this does not mean much to most of you, and yet seeds must be planted and will in time germinate. So imagine yourself like a sponge, okay? And you simply are absorbing this information right now. If you are able to understand it, so be it, all well and good. If you find it somewhat difficult to understand for whatever reasons, then just absorb it, knowing that it will reveal itself. Number two, the soul or consciousness aspect. This has been defined so many times in so many ways, and yet still I find little understanding among you. The soul is the conscious thinking entity indwelling the human form. No one communicates on a monadic level. We are not able to communicate at this point on a monadic level. Monadic communication is stepped down to us by the soul. It's the soul that is able to understand monadic impulse or communication. And as we said, divine mind exists above the divine plan. Divine mind actually creates the divine plan. Okay? Divine mind is above thought and form, and divine mind originates from the formless one and proceeds, and from that proceeds to the many. So the soul or consciousness aspect is the consciousness that exists above and free of the form. This has been defined, this soul or consciousness aspect, so many ways, so many times. Yet I still find little understanding among you. The soul is the conscious thinking entity indwelling the human form. It says here, indwelling the human form. The soul does not actually indwell the human form. initially. Okay? The soul exists above and free of the form. The soul observes its vehicle for long periods of time, and it begins to move to an aspect of indwelling the human form when the persona awareness begins to understand that it's here to be in connection with and in communication with its soul. That's when the soul begins to work with its form and at some point in time indwells the form. The soul is the neutron, that which experiences, that which absorbs, and that which radiates. Its motion is spiralic. Its force is radiation. And its quality is love or pure reason. The soul is consciousness, and we find it in many stages. Everything that is animated by life. Everything that is animated by life. The nature of that life being some degree of consciousness and resultant activity. The rock, the vegetable, the animal, the human, all are conscious. The human has self-awareness. Concentrated into the human atom are all the stages of awareness, some developed, some latent. Thus, humanity is created in the image and likeness of God Himself. 3, the personality. We spoke of this in the first lesson of the series as being a conditional state of existence into which the soul focuses itself. It is related to the negative electron. So we have the neutron, and then we have the electron when we're talking about the personality. That it is related to the negative electron that is characterized by activity. Its motion is rotary, its force is repulsion, and its quality is relativity. In considering these 3 major aspects, I shall give you 3 words upon which to meditate for further clarification. There you go. Monad or synthesis, soul, magnetic attraction, personality, relationship. You can take each one of these pairs into meditation. Monad synthesis, soul, magnetic attraction, personality, relationship. And you will get greater insight. And that level of meditation has to be taught. But if you've taken nature of the soul, you understand exactly what it is I'm talking about. Each of these 3 aspects is also a triplicity, and for purpose of study should be broken down into their 3 component parts. This I shall do for you. However, I do not expect you to understand or even grasp the significance of that which is imparted at this time. Simply file it away for future reference. Monad, A, will or motivating impulse. The monad, remember, is aligned with purpose, power, will, We said divine mind. Monad is will or motivating impulse. B, love or synthesis. And C, intelligence or activity. So, three things the monad has: will, love, intelligence, or activity, or creativity. You could call it also creativity. Okay? Will, motivating impulse, love or synthesis, and intelligence or activity. The soul is characterized by spiritual or superhuman, referred to as Christ consciousness. B, human. And C, animal or subhuman. And the personality, A, mental, which connects with all the other A's under each category, from will, motivating impulse, to spiritual, superhuman, Christ consciousness. 3, on a personality level, it manifests as just simply being mental. Personality, B, astral or emotional. Okay? Which connects with where the humanity is in most cases. We're on an astral and emotional level underneath the aspect of the soul, and under the monad on the highest level, representing the highest aspects of divine love or synthesis. And C, physical or etheric, okay, which connects with the form aspect of each of the, closer to the form aspect of each of the categories under the monad, intelligence and activity, under the soul, animal or subhuman, and under the personality, physical or physical etheric. Let us now consider these three major aspects from a little different angle: energy and motion. And what we're going to do now is break it down into even more components. And each one of these, if you meditate on each one of these, you using each word as a seed thought, you will come back with so much information. Okay? And all you do is just jot it down in your journal. We have three distinct types of energy moving in three major patterns in three frequency ranges. It is the pattern of movement and, of course, the frequency that determines the form any body of energy will take. It is the pattern of movement and, of course, the frequency that determines the form any body of energy will take. Monadic energies move in a straight line forward, and thus we have evolution. Solar energies move in a spiralic pattern, thus we have the development of consciousness. Personality energies move in a rotary pattern, thus we have experience. Time and space as we know them are phenomena of personality energy. Affinity or attraction is a phenomena of solar energy. And progress is a phenomena of monadic energy. So, time and space are phenomena of personality energy. It says a lot right there. Okay? It is only on the level of the personality or persona that we have time and space. Progress is a phenomena of monadic energy. Affinity or attraction is a phenomena of solar energy. The soul is magnetic and it radiates. So these words, affinity or attraction, is a phenomena of soul energy or solar energy. Progress, straightforward movement, is a phenomena of monadic energy. Time and space, that which we know is especially time illusion, is a phenomena of personality energy. For contemplation, I shall list certain further manifestations of the three types of energy as they are stepped down and work out on the three planes of human endeavor. So, under each one, we have something. Monadic synthesis, solar magnetic attraction, personality repulsion. Monadic progress, solar awareness, personality change. Inspiration, intuition, instinct. Inspiration comes from the divine. Intuition is a soul's, is the aspect of the soul, intuition. And instinct is the aspect of personality. Eternity, monadic. Creation, solar. And for the last one, time and space under the personality. Will, love, and activity. Power, wisdom, knowledge. Interesting. I vaguely recall someone telling me that something occurred to them or some experience happened to them. I cannot pull it right now. And simply because they happened to stay within the realm of their solar focus, never did they allow themselves to shift from that focus. They were able to see how they were affecting everything in their life. And this went beyond the idea of changing things. This went beyond the idea of trying to control things. They just sat in that energy, that knowing. And as a result of being able to do that, they were able to watch the metamorphosis, the shift that went on around them, simply by being who they truly were on a soul level, without attachment, without greed, without need. Okay, it was really a powerful thing. So, power, wisdom, and knowledge, cosmic awareness, universal awareness, and self awareness. See the difference? Cosmic, monadic, universal, solar, self, personality, power, monadic, wisdom, solar, or soul, knowledge, personality, will, monadic, love, soul. The soul is love. activity, personality. Continuity, monadic. Life, solar. Death, personality. Wow. Through all of this, though all of this may not seem clear to you now, once again, I ask you to file it away for future reference. Just hold on to it. It may seem like a lot. It is a lot to take in in one fell swoop. Later, you will relate this information to other information and understand much that is now only vague and difficult. In the meantime, try to realize that you are an aggregate of many energies manifesting in a world of energies and reacting to the impact of many energies upon your own energy center, your own body. It is your direction and control of your quota of energy that determines your evolution of consciousness and its consequent experiences. We find today the human entity entering into that stage of development wherein some of the laws of the soul begin to govern experience. This is because of certain soul energies that are pouring down into race mind consciousness and stimulating spiritual awareness. That these energies are misinterpreted and wrongly directed is true right now, but this is always true as new energies make their presence felt. And are we not in one of those times right now? Okay. So the newest thing on the block is AI. And many of us are already set in our ways as to what side we've fallen on. Are we the naysayers, never want to deal with it? Or are we the ones who have jumped headlong into it, swearing they have a companion? They're having a relationship with AI. So there was a time it is said that when umbrellas were made, it was thought to be a sin to use an umbrella because it's natural, it's nature, it's the will of the divine to reign on us. And to try to keep ourselves out of it was considered a sin. Okay? So, a transition period always manifests and precipitates a series of crises in which the entities concerned must make a choice and so determine the path they will take. Now, as never before in the history of the race, the opportunities of group service to a needy world are great. Groups, united in purpose, can lift humanity out of the darkness into the light if they so choose. Whatever path humanity takes will have been the result of a group decision. Think on this. Think on this. How is that decision made? You may well ask this question, for it is not made suddenly in the twinkling of an eye. It is made daily as disciples put into activity those energies that are theirs to direct. Those energies we shall consider as threefold for the moment: mental energy, emotional energy, physical energy. As disciples accept and embody and radiate truth consciously and with the goal in mind, their decision is made and the forces of light are strengthened. Every word which is impulsed by divine love and formed with a clear mind brings the Christ consciousness that much closer. Every act of selfless service swings humanity into the path. I would rather have this particular lesson palpitate within you. Work on your integration of this information. Read it over and over and over now. Until next week, blessings.